What's up, sisters? This is your boy, Beef, and welcome back to the channel. The Baldur's Gate 3 modding scene is absolutely insane, and one of my favorite mods of all time for the game is the Trials of Tav roguelike mod, which just got a massive new update that I want to talk about because it's really just such an awesome mod. I really believe that it deserves all the spotlight. Before we get into it, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, leave a like and comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel for more Baldur's Gate 3 modding content. But without further ado, let's take a look at Trials of Tav Reloaded. If you're unfamiliar with the original Trials of Tav mod made by modder Hippo, it's effectively a new game mode that turns Baldur's Gate 3 into a roguelike game. What exactly is a roguelike game, though? Typically, roguelike games use procedural generation, randomized loot, and permadeath to create an isolated dungeon crawler. If you've ever played games like Spelunky, The Binding of Isaac, Slay the Spire, Vampire Survivors, or one of my favorites, Risk of Rain 2, then you kind of have the idea of what a roguelike game is. You start a run from nothing, explore the level that you spawn in, defeat the enemies you find, collect loot, and become stronger over time as you complete different dungeon crawls, building yourself out based on whatever loot you happen to find. When your character dies, you die for good, and you can boot up another run and try again. This sounds like Baldur's Gate 3 honor mode, right? But it's actually very different. Risk of Rain 2 is more of a roguelite game because it's not turn-based, among other differences, but I have some footage of myself playing the game during this part of the video because the game generally captures the essence of what we're talking about, at least in my opinion. How this ends up playing out in Baldur's Gate 3's Trials of Tav mod is incredibly fun and makes for hundreds of hours of extra gameplay. According to the original mod description, it creates a combat-only mode that lets you fight waves of enemies in progressively harder encounters. Doing so will net you random loot with rarity-based drop rates, as well as a rogue score and currency used to unlock powerful power-ups. Basically, we'll be creating a fresh new game, and as soon as we exit the pod on the Nautiloid, we'll be transported directly to the in-game camp, which serves as our hub world in between combat encounters. Here, you can choose to link up with friends in multiplayer, play solo, or recruit hirelings to form a full party. When you feel ready for the upcoming encounter, teleport out of camp into a random location from Baldur's Gate 3 in Act 1, 2, or 3, and instantly begin combat with a random selection of enemies both from the base game and Dungeons & Dragons as a whole. In the early levels, you'll often face imps, badgers, goblins, kobolds, and other creatures. As you progress through the game and level up, your enemies will become progressively stronger, including dragons, death knights, Anti-Ethel, Grimm, and even Ketheric Thorm. After you hopefully complete these combat encounters, loot will randomly drop for you to collect. This loot can include armor, weapons, consumables, pretty much anything you can find in the base game. If you have further mods installed which add new and unique items into the game, you can even add these into the loot table for a chance to receive one of them in your spoils. For completing an encounter, you'll also earn both Rogue Score and Rogue Points. Rogue Score determines the scaling and difficulty of the enemies you'll face in your next encounter, so as you earn more, you'll face more powerful foes. Rogue Points, on the other hand, are a currency you can use in your camp to purchase any of a ton of different upgrades from the shop. Yes, this game features a shop. Do you want to buy the Pixie Blessing with your Rogue Points? Go for it. Do you want to buy Bowl's Benediction? Go for it. Spend points on rare, very rare, or legendary random loot boxes, but these loot boxes are the good kind, trust me. You can buy tadpole powers, ability score increases, basically whatever you need or want to make your team more powerful and better equipped to handle the next challenge. If you get a crazy good piece of gear that doesn't align with your current class or build, it might be worth shifting some things around and changing your playstyle. When you're ready for the next combat encounter, leave camp and teleport to another random location to face a wave of stronger enemies than you fought previously. Collect your loot and move on to the next, more difficult encounter. That's more or less the basic gameplay loop in a nutshell. That is Trials of Tav. So what's new in Trials of Tav Reloaded? After getting permission from the original creator, modder Celerev has expanded this game mode even further with more enemies, more shop options, bug fixes, new bosses, an overhaul to the scaling, and a level 27 final super boss. The reloaded version of this mod adds in over 80 new monsters from the base game, including all legendary monsters, excluding the Netherbrain, as well as some random picks like Nine Fingers Keen, the countermeasures from the battle atop the brain, and even Harvard Willoughby, Nature's Vengeance. The update also includes over 10 brand new custom bosses adapted from Baldur's Gate 3 and relevant tabletop material. Additionally, the reloaded version makes a ton of bug fixes where enemy actions and abilities weren't working properly before, and recontextualizes enemies that rely on specific mechanics like the lava for the Grim fight or Raphael's soul pillars. Once you're strong enough, you can challenge the final boss and declare yourself the winner of Trials of Tav and move on to New Game Plus. Or you can lose and just start another one. But how do we install this mod so you can play it? Unfortunately, this mod isn't available through the in-game mod manager and can only be downloaded from the Nexus using the Baldur's Gate 3 mod manager application. This is because Trials of Tav relies on the script extender, which means it also won't ever be able to be played on console. After you have the script extender installed, we want to download and install Advanced Tabletop Spells, also by modder Celerev. Advanced Tabletop Spells adds reworked and modified versions of level 7, 8, and 9 spells from Dungeons & Dragons, including Finger of Death, Glibness, Meteor Swarm, and Wish. This mod is a requirement for the reloaded version of Trials of Tav because it contains the data and spells used by the new monsters and bosses. Yes, that means you might get a high-level boss throwing the Wish spell at you or hitting you with the Finger of Death. After you have this mod installed, you can pop Trials of Tav Reloaded into your load order. Now, you can boot up a fresh game and start playing Trials of Tav Reloaded. This is a mod that I personally have a shit ton of fun playing with. It's perfect for build testing, just messing around, or just for having a fun time going around and playing with a randomized combat challenge gauntlet. If you're playing Baldur's Gate 3 on PC, I highly recommend this mod because it honestly feels like a totally different game, and it's definitely worth downloading the Baldur's Gate 3 mod manager and the script extender to be able to have it. It's still Baldur's Gate 3 without the narrative aspects and focusing entirely on unique D&D combat encounters, now expanded with even more variety. Otherwise, that's pretty much everything to do with the Trials of Tav Reloaded roguelike Baldur's Gate 3 mod. Does this sound like a mod that you would have fun playing with? Like I've said before, I definitely think that this is a mod worth downloading because I have just really enjoyed playing with it myself, and I've heard some really great things from other people who have also enjoyed playing it. But that just about does it for today's mod showcase. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Baldur's Gate 3 mod videos like this. Ask any questions that you might have for me about this mod down in the comments down below. But other than that, I hope you enjoy your combat gauntlet, and I hope you have a fantastic day.